Carhartt needs to sponsor me because I be rocking them too hard. And I don't even be doing construction or no heavy lifting or nothing, but I love me a Carhartt.
Last summer was a bummer. I ain't even get to ride around in a Hummer. Chilling on the island looking for booty to plunder. Met a little shorty, got a number. We've been chilling since TMNT, where I got it out the gutter. Got away with words, it's my bread and my butter. Grandma passed on my birthday and that's word to my mother. And she just kicked me out the crib, man, we ain't been talking since.
It's me. I'm back with another video. So as you guys can see by the title, another story for you guys, I guess. Actually, this is not really a story time, I guess, but I guess it's considered a story time. Thank you for those who have been watching my videos. Girl, I know you lying. Why nobody told me that my ponytail was on the side of my head like that? How dare y'all? Appreciate you guys. For those who are just now finding my channel, welcome. And for those who've been on my channel, thank you for returning. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Give you a second. And people that have issues with the way I tell my stories, or I guess the way I'm posting, someone was like, why you keep putting your business online? I'm putting it online because it already happened. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't go back to change it, okay? Like, all I could do is laugh about it now. The things that I talk about do not hurt me anymore, which is why it's easy for me to talk about it freely, obviously. And if you have a problem with my story times, then don't watch them. Simple. I tell the story based on how I experienced it. Here's my story about how I happened to be a parent in my labor and delivery. As some of you may know, some people don't actually know this, that I do have a child, a son. His name is Tatum. He is about 18 months right now. And I don't really talk about him, and I don't post him for personal and safety reasons. Yeah, but this is probably the first time I'm going to openly speak about my experience with labor, delivery, and even carrying a child for 9 months. 9 months and 2 days, actually. When I did find out about Tatum, I was about 4 or 5 weeks, and I was in complete denial. I was like, there's no way this is happening to me. Like, I could barely take care of myself. I was psychologically, spiritually, just not there at all. And I was going through a lot of stuff, and like, to me, I'm like a baby, bro. Yeah, not jacking it. And I didn't jack it for a couple of weeks. The only people that knew was me and Tatum's dad. And I think he was in just as much as denial as I was, because we didn't really speak about it like at first much. Yeah, I wasn't working because the job that I had to quit because I was over there causing chaos at work. I had a car. They took my car. My family took my car away because I wasn't safe to drive. Like, I was just not there at all. So to find out now that I gotta go take care of a baby, yeah, it wasn't for me. And I think one day it hit me like, bro, you can't just not think about it and it go away. Because in my head, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, maybe if I don't think about it, it's just going to go away. It didn't. So then I made the decision that I did not want to have a child because it wasn't for me. I never saw that for myself in my future. I tell Tatum's dad, I'm like, bro, I think I should just go the, termination route. This is not going to work out for me. I'm not in the right mind frame. I don't have a job right now. Like, I just need to get myself together, and I can't do that with a baby attached to my hip kind of thing. It was like I was in the lead type of thing. So, at this time, like a couple weeks went by, a couple days or something, I had got a job. It was like I was a baby myself at this point. Then, okay, so I find a doctor that I want to go to, and I don't know if I'm bougie or whatever, but I wanted to feel comfortable and like be in a nice, clean environment. And I didn't want to go to a place where I knew people and I'm walking out of the procedure and I got people in my face like, yo, you here too? Like, I didn't want that type of meet and greet situation at all. So I told him that it was far. He knew I was not driving. Therefore, I needed money for an Uber. I was planning to go right after work. I had called and made the appointment and everything, right? I told him about it. He said, bet, I'm going to give you the bread for the Uber. Call me when you're ready to, take the Uber. So I'm at work, packing up my stuff to go. I texted him like an hour before my appointment started because it took about 45 minutes to get there. So I'm like, let me just get there early. Texted him like, can you send the Uber? I gave him the information, my address and the place. And he was like, I never agreed to pay for this. Sir, do you know why I'm going? This is not like I have a regular checkup. This is like a real thing that I have to get, take care of. He refused to pay for it. Not even $1 he sent me towards it. And the reason why I asked him to pay for it in the first place is because I didn't have a lot of money at the time. And I was working part-time and asked him for the money because he was working full-time. He had the money. He just chose not to give it to me. So me and him have an argument and I'm angry because, first of all, I already have to do this by myself. And now you're telling me you're not giving me the money for the Uber. And so I ended up paying my Uber. I get there and at this point I'm fed up. Like, I'm tight. Already here by myself. I had to pay for the expensive Uber to get there. And, it's nice and clean and quiet in there. I walk in there and they call my name and do the little payment stuff and run your insurance and all that stuff. And this nice black lady calls me into her office because I guess she seen me just looking mad distraught in the back. She calls me in the office and she sits me down and she tries to explain the procedure and if I understand everything and did I understand the paperwork that I signed and if I know what I'm doing. And as she's talking, she goes, "Are you here by yourself?" And I just burst out into tears. Like boo-hoo crying, snot coming out, like can't breathe. And she hugged me. Even growing up, I was not affectionate. My mom wasn't really that affectionate with me. So for me to hug like even strangers, like especially strangers, I get very tense. But it was something about this woman's hug that made me it's like my body melted into her arms. Like I didn't even know this woman. And she was basically telling me like, you don't gotta do this and there's programs out there to help you. And I'm like, miss, no, you're not understanding the tears. These are tears of disappointment in myself. Like I'm about to have a baby with a bum. Do you understand that part? A bum. I cannot go further in this process. Like this is where it ends. It's not for me. I don't see this turning around is what I'm trying to tell her. And then after the whole conversation, she was like, all right, so you're going to go in this room. You're going to use some little wipe and you're going to take off your clothes. And it was so cold in this room. I cannot forget my back hitting the table. And it was so cold. I felt like I was getting an autopsy done. That's how cold. I feel like I was in the morgue. That's how cold it was in there. And I'm laying on the table and then this other lady comes in the room and you have to do like a sonogram or something. But because I was so early, the first trimester, they had to use the wand that they put inside you. Oh, not recommended. They put the little wand thing in and I'm telling the lady, this lady did not care about nobody's feelings. Like she was very strict, very stern. She just went in there, did what she had to do and she was trying to dip. Like she wasn't even trying to talk to me. And I was on the table like I'm by myself. That's all I'm thinking about. Like, yo, I'm really here by myself. No one knows that I'm here. My mom, like, there was a lot of stuff going through my mind. And then, I asked her to turn the volume down on the little sonogram machine because I didn't want to hear no heartbeat. I didn't want to hear none of that. This woman, I don't know if she heard me and disregarded what I said. And then I hear the sound going off in my ear and I like pick my head up and I'm like, yo, I asked you to not to like play that. Like I asked you to turn it down. She was like, oh, I must have pressed the wrong thing. She said something stupid like that. And I'm like, yo, I'm hearing the heartbeat go off and I'm like, all right, can you turn that down, please? Like I'm about to have an anxiety attack. Just please turn it down. By the time she turns it down, she's done. She did her little calculations and she measured you know what they do with the little thing. And then she says, yo, put your clothes back on. Basically, put your clothes on. Very, like, not comforting, not warm, like, not welcoming. Just put your clothes back on. She leaves the room, and she comes back. She leaves the room, and then she comes back with a paper, and she highlighted some address on the paper, and she was like, you gotta go here. Basically, just here, go here. And I'm like, go here for, like, how many places y'all gonna send me to? And I'm looking at the paper. I'm barely reading it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? 4 days. She was like 4 or 6 days, like, too far along for us to do it in this building, like this facility. I hear the words. I know what she's saying, but it's not registering in my head. What? Like, I'm hearing her talk, and it's like everything was just, it wasn't, like, I wasn't understanding what she was saying. Like, I wasn't. I'm looking at the paper. I could read the words, and it's like my brain is just shut down. Everything is a fog. It just shut down. So the black lady, the nice black lady that helped me, she brought me back to the office, and she's trying to explain to me, basically, you cannot get your procedure done here because you're too far along. And I have to go to some other place. I think most of the places she sent me was the Bronx. I think the Bronx, and then something was in Manhattan. And I'm like, y'all just can't do it. Like, it's only a couple days. And she was like, yeah, we could get in a lot of trouble for that. And I'm like, at this point, the only thing that's running through my head is that scene from Four Colored Girls. I don't know if y'all saw the movie, and the girl was finna get her little termination done, and she went to that lady house in the basement and some projects, and she was cleaning like the tools with the whiskey and all that. That's what I thought about when I heard the Bronx or Harlem or whatever she said. I said, you want me to go where? I said, no, I can't. And I started crying again. I said, miss, like, this is hard enough. Like, y'all can't help me do nothing. And she was like, no, you waited a little bit too long. And bro, my brain completely shut down after that. And I'm like, in my head, I guess I might have to have a baby, because there's no way I'm getting on the train and going to the Bronx and getting my insides scraped out. I said, no, I can't do this. And I'm like in the Uber looking out the window, like, you know, the cover to Drake's album, I forgot what it's called, nothing was the same, whatever, the thing where he's just like looking to the side. That's me looking out the window the whole car ride home. And I'm like, dang, I'm broke. I'm finna have a baby. This boy don't even care to give me no bread. Like, I'm like, what has my life come to right now? And that's just me in the car. And then a couple more weeks went by, and I'm still not telling nobody, because I'm still in denial, because there's no way this is happening to me. Can't be. Still kind of in contact with Tatum's dad, but it's nothing positive. I fell into a really, really deep depression, and I had a lot of serious thoughts about how I was going to kill myself. Honestly, I did not want to be a part of this planet anymore. I was completely gone mentally. And now I was about to, you know, make a decision to give birth, and I don't even know what I'm about to do with myself. I remember researching online how to kill yourself and keep the baby alive. Like, that's how bad it got. Like, my depression was bad, and my anxiety didn't make it no better. It got to the point where I wasn't sleeping at all. Like, I could stay up for 23 hours out of the day and just watch TV. I didn't want to shower, nothing. I didn't want to get up out of the bed, nothing. And I was like that for weeks. And then one day I remember going to the bathroom. And at this point, I completely stopped my psych meds. Water. I completely just stopped taking them, which is not a good idea, because that could send you into, or spiral you into, a double helix depression. That's what I call it. When you're already depressed and then you get more depressed. Double helix. Yeah, so I was not here. Up here, gone. I remember one day it got so bad, my depression, that I went to the bathroom and I stared at myself in the mirror, and I was saying really awful things about myself, like, you ugly. Like, I was just tearing myself more down than I already was. And I cried for 30 minutes in the bathroom, and that was a real cry. Like, that was the deepest cry I think I've ever cried in my life. And it got to the point where I couldn't even walk. Like my whole body was like shut down, basically. That's how much tears I cried. My shirt was wet. My ears were filled with tears. Like I felt like I cried every last tear that I had. And I remember praying. I was on my knees in front of the toilet and I was praying, and I'm like, God, like, what am I finna do? Because this is too much, and I feel like one human being cannot handle all of this. Like, and after that cry, something in my mind clicked. Like, bro, you already got the tools that you need. Get up, wipe your face off, and figure it out. Tatum's dad did not make my situation better. No, he did not. He was not there for me, not once. Not once was he there for me. He was actually a huge factor in my spiral in depression. Like, I really felt like he made it worse. So I tell my mom, completely disappointed in me. She's not happy. Then after that, right, he came to my house and told my mom this whole big old story about how he's going to jail and how he's going to get his brother to send us information about how to contact him. He even signed the paternity papers. This is what really blew my mind. He signed the paternity papers before he left because he said he wasn't going to be able to sign them when he's, whatever, locked up. Girl, I didn't know what none of that meant. I just said sign the papers because, you know, the baby's coming. There's nothing we could do now. What I'm gonna do? Beg the court not to let you go to jail? So then I really did not want a baby shower, but I wanted something where we could have pictures or like celebrate. I didn't want people to know. So with this, that's why I didn't want a baby shower. Like, I wanted to keep this as secluded, like as private as I could, because I was embarrassed. This is embarrassing. I think like 2 days later, he said that he was going to court to get sentenced that Monday. Basically, this would be kind of the last time I probably will see him, is what he was saying. At this time, I'm still working, guys. I'm working part-time and I'm paying for everything. Everything. Get that in your minds. I paid for every single supply that Tatum has to this day. Plus taking care of myself. My mom had to get 3 jobs because eventually I could not work. Like towards the end, I couldn't work. And someone had to keep up with my bills and then buy, I think there was like a couple of things that I needed for Tatum that I could not get because I couldn't work. And my mom was helping me do that towards the end. So on top of all this emotional trauma that I'm going through in my head, dealing with all this stuff physically, and my friend hit me up and she was like, oh, you and I'm gonna call him the boy. You and the boy went out to eat last night? No, I was in my bed the night before because I had work that morning. Girl, that's not me. And I shot it or something and sent it to me. And this boy was out to eat with a girl and it looked like it was her birthday. This is the same boy that told me he didn't have no money to pay for the gender reveal or to buy anything for the baby. So I immediately call him. I didn't pay for none of that. She paid for everything. She even paid for my Uber to get there. So you mean to tell me this girl had a birthday, she did her makeup, her hair, went out to eat, got you an Uber too, and paid for your food on her birthday? And he was like, yeah, I didn't pay for nothing. This is how I really knew he was a bum. Like, I knew before, but this is when it all set in. And I'm like, yo, I'm about to have a baby with a bum? Like, wow. A bum. Like a real one. Bro, it was like, what? I said, nah, I gotta do my own research on what happened. So I go online on my laptop and I'm searching mad stuff for hours. I don't know what I'm looking for. Wow, this boy was on no parole. He wasn't even on parole, people. He wasn't. This boy lied. I felt like my brain was going to burst. Like, it was just too much trauma after trauma. And after I called him out on that, that's when things started really to go downhill. And so now it gets to the point where people are calling and texting me from like these private text-free numbers. I think he had got to try to get someone to jump me. Like, I was getting messages almost every day from girls, or maybe it was him. Every day. I was scared to leave my house. I was terrified to leave my house for a good couple weeks because he had people texting me telling me they were going to kill me. I was gonna get jumped, and at this point I'm like 7-8 months. I mean, I was pretty agile, but not enough to fight somebody with a stomach in front of me. Girls sending pictures to my phone like, oh, y'all don't even want to hear the disgusting things these girls were saying to me. 9 months come, it's time to give birth. I'm already like emotionally not there. Spiritually, I'm not there. Physically, I just want to get, I just want to get this over with. Go to the hospital. All right, let's go to the labor part. So I was in labor for about 40 hours. And to give birth, it's just me and my mom there. I'm in tremendous pain. Only maybe 12 of those hours was an epidural involved. Other than that, pure pain. I was in pain. At first, it was bearable. I went to the hospital the first time and they was like, oh, you're not in enough pain. The lady told me, until you can't speak, don't come back. Didn't know what that meant until I knew what it meant. Like, the pain was so bad. I don't recommend having a child. People that have more than one child, yo, kudos to you. I give you my props. I would never put myself in that situation again. Nope. People are like, but you're just, no, I'm never gonna forget that pain. That's a pain that you don't forget. They put me in the room and they was like, oh, we're gonna call down. They was like, do you want to wait or do you want to get your epidural now? Wait, I wanted it 10 minutes ago. No, I need it now. Call them from now before I get into the room. The guy comes and they got to stick the needle in your back. It's a needle. It's a big one in your back. And I'm like, how you gonna stick it in my back? And he was like, we're gonna wait for you to have a contraction. And he told me, make sure you stay still because you could be paralyzed if you move. So you mean to tell me you want me to wait until I'm in the most unbearable pain to stay still? Well, I'm walking, so at least I didn't move. After that, the pain started to ease a little bit. I started to feel more comfortable. And then 12 hours go by. You can't eat. I'm like, I have not eaten in like 36 hours. Like, this is too much. And they was like, you can't eat until after you give birth. I'm like, forget this birth, man. I'm hungry. I need a Whopper. I need something. A slushie. Something. All they let you eat is ice. My labor is stalled. A nurse comes in, she says, we have to induce you because you've been sitting here for some time and the baby's not even pushing, like not even trying to come down. So they said, we're going to have to give you Pitocin and see what happens after. I did my research and I really did not want Pitocin. Like, I heard that you shouldn't, it's not really safe, but I didn't really have an option. The baby wasn't trying to come out. And I was in there for some time and I was really hungry. So I'm like, yeah, let's dose me up with the Pitocin, man. Do your thing. They gave me that. A couple hours later, still no progress. So they took me off of the epidural because they thought that's what was stalling the labor. Girl, as soon as they done took me off, 15 minutes later, the pain shot right back. And I'm like, oh my Jesus. I'm like, dang it. I'm like, y'all don't got no crack back there? Heroin, fentanyl, something. Let me mention this. My whole labor, I did not cry. I didn't shed a tear. I had none left. I didn't cried all my tears. Yesterday, I cried all my tears. So there was not one bitter tear that came out. And I was in the most pain that I've ever been in my whole life. And I couldn't even cry. And after, they took me off the thing, then they was like, all right, we think you're dilated enough. I started dilating enough to give birth, to push. It took over an hour to just push him out. Like, That's OD. He didn't even have to do me like that. I got him out, and because of all the emotional, physical, spiritual trauma I've been through, I rejected him. Absolutely. I rejected Tatum when he was first born. I didn't want to touch him. And I was like, what if I just give him up for adoption? Like, what if I just don't take him home? Because this is a lot. I looked over at him. I'm like, I started to think, I'm like, what kind of fit they put him in today? Like, did they match? Did they put Nike and Adidas on him at the same time? I was thinking about stuff like that. And I'm like, I wonder if they fed him the best formula they had. Or like, did they just like give him the little cheap stuff? Like, bro, I was thinking about all of that stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna just take him home. I mean, I guess this is alright. Or whatever. Gave him to my mom. And my mom, she was holding him for a minute until they were ready to clean him off. And they had to like clean him off and put him in the incubator because he was a little cold. And they had to heat him back up and put the stuff on his eyes and all of that. And then something, like, I heard him cry out, and like something in my mind snapped. And I don't know what that was. I felt like, you know, like when the mama bear be attacking people for her cub. That's how I felt. And I stood up and I'm like, Brody, what are you doing over there? Why is he crying like that? Like, you gotta give him this test. Whoa. I said, whoa, slow down. Everybody calm down. Let's regroup. What are you giving him? You can't just shoot him up with stuff and without my permission. No. And I'm like, I need to research some of this stuff because I don't know what any of these medical terminologies that you're using right now. The lady was like, I've been doing this for 15. I don't care what you've been doing for 15 years. I said, give me a second. Dang, give me a second. Lacking. Like, he already went through mad trauma. Relax. He's in the incubator. He's safe. Relax. They saying mad stuff mad fast, and I'm trying to Google on my phone. I don't know what I'm Googling. And they was like, it's okay for you to panic a little bit and be a little anxious. I don't care what you're talking about right now. That's not your baby. At that moment, Tatum has not left my side. Unless he's going to daycare now. Like, he doesn't leave my side because I'm so paranoid. This world is so crazy and unsafe for children that, like, I need to know exactly what you're doing and why. Because these hospital staff don't care about your child. They don't. Talking about its procedure. They don't care. Then that my mom had to leave because, as I told y'all, my mom was working 3 jobs to support me and Tatum and herself. So she had to leave. So my whole hospital stay, I was basically by myself. I'm not even gonna say basically. I was by myself my whole hospital stay. Because of my situation with my meds and my depression, I also had a social worker. I had a team of people like that contacted me daily to make sure I was mentally there. So I had to have a meeting with my doctor. I set this up actually because I'm a psych major and I know about postpartum depression. I was terrified. You best believe I was terrified of myself. I did not want to be left alone with Tatum because I know that people that have postpartum depression don't even know that they're experiencing things that are not in the reality. Like, I know, not that I know because I've experienced it, but I did my research and I know that people neglect their children due to postpartum depression, or they accidentally kill their children and themselves. So I'm like, I don't even want to be, I don't want to be mixed up with those demons right now because I already had a deep depression prenatal. So imagine postnatal. No, just didn't want to, dive into those waters. So I made a plan with my doctor, a psychiatrist, like literally the head of psychiatry in the hospital because I was already in the psych ward so many times. I had my connections. And my social worker, that every day that I was in that hospital, I had to be psychologically evaluated until I left. Like, I needed to make that known. I need after that maternal instinct kicked in after they was giving him too much shots and making him cry and all that stuff. I did not feel depressed. I just felt very protective. My doctor would make jokes and be like, your baby healed you from your depression. Like, he saved you, basically. I don't really like to say that children save people because it's not their job, and that's a lot to put on a child. But I guess theoretically that's what it was, because after I had Tatum, my depression, it didn't go away, because sometimes I do have those moments where I am depressed, but it's not in comparison to where I was. I could tell you that now. Like, the depression, it comes and goes, like it's in the back of my head, but I have not been, you know, that deep since I've had Tatum. I will say that. Moral of the story is, don't have a baby with a bum. Be careful who you have kids with. Thank you guys for watching my video once again. And if you got to the end, double thanks. If you didn't, that's okay. I'll get you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn your post notifications on, and you know, let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see next. But anyways, thanks for watching, and you know, do your things out there. Be safe, wear your mask, and stay away from undercover bums.